There you are. I want to thank everybody for being here, and especially express my gratitude to Chancellor John Sharp and Chief Nim Kidd of the Texas Division of Emergency Management for hosting this event at this what I'll call very unique and profound location. Is called Disaster City at Texas A&M. And it is a location that I and others will explain more about that is used to train first responders across our state, even across the country, to be able to respond to disasters. But we're here for something else today. We're here to both announce as well as to express the gratitude of the state of Texas, the gratitude of Texas A&M, as well as the Texas Division of Emergency Management for a $100,000 donation of tools from Stanley Black & Decker. Now, Stanley Black & Decker is the world leader in the tool industry and home to iconic American brands. They provide tools that literally built the United States of America. And today we're thankful that they are supplying $100,000 in tools that Chief Kidd and the Texas Division of Emergency Management will be able to use in responding to disasters across the state of Texas. And when it comes to disasters across the state of Texas, this is something of enormous magnitude in our state. Texas has the best disaster response program in the United States, and that's in part because of the size and location of our state. From hurricanes along the Gulf Coast to wildfires out of the Panhandle to tornadoes and floods and explosions at places in between, in Texas we've seen it all. And we want to ensure that officials at both the state and local levels have the tools and the training they need to do everything possible to keep their communities safe and to help their communities respond to whatever disaster may arise in those communities. The Texas Division of Emergency Management and Chief Kidd are a national model for disaster response. This year alone, they have responded to disasters obviously here in Texas, but also to disasters in Florida, North Carolina, New Mexico, California, and probably some other states as well. They train people right here at this disaster city on how to respond to whatever type of disaster may arise, wherever it may arise. Because of training that is provided right here, lives have been saved, and lives will be saved. And so we're grateful that we have Texas A&M that's provided this disaster city for that training, but also so grateful today that we have businesses like Stanley, Stanley Tools, Stanley Black & Decker, for everything they're doing to help out to ensure that the training that's taking place here and those responding to disasters in Texas will have access to the very best tools in the entire world. At this time, I want to pass it to Don Allen with Stanley Black & Decker. Thank you very much.
Governor. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much, Governor. And it's an honor to be here. I am the CEO of Stanley Black & Decker. I've been with the company for over 25 years and seen a lot of wonderful things. But the long legacy of our company is a great story. I mean, we've been an American company that started back in 1843, over 180 years ago. And Stanley was primarily a hand tool company, and then we merged with a company called Black & Decker, which was another U.S. company. And those three founders under those three names have always been giving back to our communities. And they've been part of making sure that we built this legacy and culture in our company for a long time, that when a disaster happens, we're providing disaster relief. But what's really exciting about this particular opportunity here is that we're helping train people by using our tools on all these different types of possible scenarios and potential disasters that do happen and could happen in their particular communities. And that's something that we feel really proud of, and it adds to our legacy and our culture of giving back in times of need, but also helping our communities be prepared before those events actually occur. And so I want to thank the Governor, I want to thank the Chancellor, and you, Chief Kidd, as well, for this event. I think what you do here in Texas for our whole country is something we should really be very proud of, and it's something that we as a company are very proud to be associated with. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Now, Chancellor Sharp.
Thank you, Governor. It's wonderful to be here, especially with the Governor of Texas, as always, but it's also good to be here with Don Allen, who is the CEO of this great company. The reason this organization is the best in the country and really a blueprint for how other states should do it is because that's the way Greg Abbott designed it. It wasn't always this way. Prior to Hurricane Harvey, prior to 2019, it was a good disaster relief agency, but what he did was he recognized that there are agencies outside of DPS, outside of even Texas A&M, that ought to all work in a coordinated fashion. And that's what he did. He went to the legislature and said, hey, we're going to put all of these things in one place. We're going to head it by a great leader, Dim Kidd. And the reason that it's the best disaster relief agency in the country, aside from these great men and women and Chief Kidd, is because that's the way the guy designed it. It's the way the governor of Texas designed it, and it has become the standard for the rest of the country. And so it's wonderful to be here with all of you, and especially to really kind of, with Stanley Black & Decker, honor the men and women that do so much. I enjoy telling my fellow Texans, when you see somebody pulled off of a roof, when you see somebody pulled out of a high water rescue or whatever, that is either an Aggie or somebody that works for an Aggie. And so we're pretty proud to be able to make this the kind of agency that he wanted it made. And the thing about Stanley Black & Decker, too, is not only they're number one in the world, but they're the last remaining tool company in the United States of America, which is a big deal, I know, to all of us, and especially to the governor. And we're also real proud of Nim Kidd, who is the best disaster relief. I'm scared to death somebody is going to call him and make him go to Washington and run FEMA. But fortunately for us, and unfortunately for the rest of the country, that at least hasn't happened yet. But I'd like to give you, I guess now, the reason for the season, Nim Kidd.
Yeah. Thank you, Chancellor. Governor, thank you. And, we can't go any further without recognizing the men and women from the A&M Forest Service and A&M Texas Task Force 1 here that are with us today. Thank you all for being here with us. Mr. Allen, I want to thank you on behalf of Texas first responders and Texas citizens for this generous donation. This is the best place to train first responders in the world. It's not just bragging, it's fact. We lovingly refer to this as Disneyland for first responders, because you look around, all of these fun props and toys are places where we can actually get real training. The sad part is every one of these was born out of a disaster that happened somewhere in the United States. So we want to continue to learn, and I'm grateful for the resources that we have here to learn from this and future disasters. Governor, thank you for allowing us to go to other states, share our experiences, and learn from their disasters to bring those back home. But the best trained responders also need the best tools. And we go through a lot of tools. And so this donation will go a long way to training our first responders and not only save lives here in Texas, but across the rest of the nation. Thank you for adding more tools into our toolbox. We appreciate your donation.
Thank you.
With that, we'll be happy to take a few questions from the media if you have any.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
So, Thrika, were you going to say something?
Why it's so important to continue building on what happens here at Teats and disaster city?
So, from a real perspective, in the past year, I've seen our fellow Texans suffer through Hurricane Beryl that ripped parts of the coastal region, especially the Houston area. I've seen something that looked far worse than this at a tornado that took place north of Denton. I was with Chief Kidd up in the Panhandle for what I think is the largest wildfire we've ever had in the state of Texas. My point is this. I've seen firsthand the faces of the families of our fellow Texans who have suffered through crisis after crisis because of the disasters that occur just naturally. And we want to make sure that every region, that every staffer in every corner of our state is fully trained to be able to immediately respond with the best training, the best equipment, so they will achieve the fastest result to restore safety and security to those folks in those neighborhoods across our state.
I know this is a state agency, but is there anything special about Aggie Land that makes this venture more worth?
Well, it truly is extraordinary because of, if you would, the size and scope of what Texas A&M is able to offer. If you go back to a couple of things, one is go back to Hurricane Harvey. It was in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey that we knew that we needed to make sure that we needed to update the state response to a hurricane of that magnitude, and I assigned to Texas A&M the responsibility of coming up with literally the book on how to respond to hurricanes. And in the aftermath of that, through the TEACS programs and others, and through the different agencies they have Aggies working in official positions, I think, in 254 counties in the state of Texas, or something darn close to it. So there is no greater array of manpower under one umbrella, such as in Texas A&M in the state of Texas, who are trained and skilled and responsive to deal with whatever catastrophe may arise. Go ahead.
Yes, so as the temperatures get colder, of course, winter is approaching. So how is it important to have these tools? I know Texas has had a couple of bad freezes over the years, so how important is this to have just ahead of that?
So listen, we want to make sure, regardless of what type of weather exists, that we're going to have the tools in place. That said, I want to answer your question from a different perspective to make sure that you and your viewers know, and that is Texas is fully prepared as a state to make sure that we have the power available to keep the power on through whatever type of storm is going to arise. Now, I've signed well over a dozen laws in the state of Texas to strengthen our power grid. We have far more power available this winter than we've had any winter ever before, and that power is far more reliable than it's ever been. And so we're working nonstop to make sure that the power stays on so that no one will suffer any type of disaster, regardless of what type of winter storm hits.
Great, thanks, folks.
Thank you all.